It's just technology.
No problem.
Beep up.
When you're hardworking feet need hardworking skincare, that's a job for O'Keefe.
You want me to call Donna?
America's #1 selling.
Donna looks like she's here.
Oh, okay. I see her. You're right. I see her name, but no, but it's a black box.
It is a
I think somebody needs to mute their skincare commercial.
Not me.
I'll text Donna. Ellen won't be here for the meeting today. So once we get Donna, we will be good.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. We don't see you.
Now that's a productive day. Metaportal makes working from home work for you.
We all love video doorbells. Voice assistants have changed our lives. We now control our home with a touch. And you know what's better than all these things by themselves? Together from the most trusted name in security, ADT. So.
All right, we're all here. Donna, you're here. So we can get started, Madam Chair.
All right.
Somebody has their TV on though.
Wait, hold on.
Can you make Sebastian a co-host?
Let me get a tissue.
Okay.
My eyes won't quit watering this morning. All right, let's get started. Roll call, please.
Hold on, Judy. We got one other technical difficulty.
Okay.
I had a technical difficulty this morning. My kids decided that since school's over, they're not going to do anything to clean their room or have any semblance of order when they leave the house, and they're in deep trouble.
Uh-oh. What's the punishment, John?
I just talked to my wife. We are going to have $1 fine for each item out of place.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately for them this morning, I think that puts them both in the red.
But it's summer.
I was going to say that. I think it's chores. They have to do chores.
They're in the red. They're going to need to do chores to get out of the red in their savings account.
Okay,
Wow.
we're all set. Thanks for
All right.
waiting.
Okay, roll call, please.
Linda Calafiore,
Present.
Donna Jett,
Donna, you're
Donna here.
She is here.
here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There
Yeah,
you
now
go.
we can.
Ellen Martin, Don Meisick,
Present.
Judy Refuerzo.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum, and thanks for all your patience, guys.
And we are still hearing some
Whoever's got the television in on the background needs to turn it off because we can hear it. If that's the case.
radio, something is playing. All right.
I'm here. Can you hear me? But I can't see anybody.
Yes, we can hear you, Donna.
Oh, good. Thanks.
We got you on roll call. Okay, announcements from commissioners. Lynn, are you raising your hand, Linda? Linda?
Yeah, that's right. Okay. I attended the Carmel Vibrancy meeting last week, hosted, or I should say organized by Jeff Barron. Talking, the main part of the agenda is looking at how to encourage affordable housing in Carmel. And we will be meeting intermittently over the year, I believe.
Okay, thank you. John?
I was going to say that Little League Baseball is in full swing, and Carmel has an all-star team that encompasses both Carmel-by-the-Sea and also the Valley, and they've got the Carmel Invitational this weekend. So if people are around and want to go watch some little 9, 10, 11-year-olds playing baseball, they're going to be at Larson Field and also at Dampierre. But I know it's a broader group than just Carmel-by-the-Sea, but it's a lot of local communities, Marina, Seaside, Toro, and so it's a lot of fun.
Great.
Very cool.
Donna, I think you wanted to say something?
Yes, I'm having technical problems with my laptop, some on my iPad. The chamber leadership has a dance this Saturday, 4 to 7 at the youth center. And they also have graduation of their leadership class on Friday that I'm going to. So just to know that the chamber is moving along. Thank you.
Thank you. Announcements from staff?
I don't have any announcements at this time.
Thank you. Anyone in the public wishing to speak on anything that is not on today's agenda, now is your opportunity. All right, seeing no one, let's go to the approval of the minutes for the May 10th meeting. Linda?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I can second that.
Calafiore,
Yes.
Jett,
Yes.
Lysick,
Yes.
Refuerzo.
Yes,
Approved, thank you.
thank you. Item number 2 on the orders of business is the cancellation of the 2022 pumpkin roll.
Yes, so we've been talking about the pumpkin roll for the last few months and different versions of it, different iterations. What date are we going to have a pumpkin roll? And after our last meeting, and of course you all know how much I love our strategic plan, I really started thinking about the pumpkin roll and what all we were doing. And we were speaking with growers specifically to grow as pumpkins to keep the costs down for this pumpkin roll. And I got started thinking about that and the implications of growing pumpkins just simply to smash them on a whim. And in this world that we live in now where, you know, I can only water my garden on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and we are in a pretty severe drought, that just seems, it doesn't connect with the presentation that we had from our environmental compliance manager. And it just, I'm having trouble with it fitting in also with our goal number 3 of our strategic plan, which is strive to be excellent stewards of the environment. So when we look at all of our events, which we have been, to make sure that we're composting, to make sure that things are getting packed in, packed out, the pumpkin roll I'm having trouble with. And so my recommendation in the staff report, as I've thought through this, is to not hold it. I just to smash pumpkins and grow them, specifically to smash them, just doesn't seem to fit in with that goal. And I know this is a family event. However, arguably all of our events that we hold, and I'm not talking about the permitted events from outside event organizers, sometimes those are geared more towards adults like the art festival or the vintners, but our events are all family oriented. The parade, the sandcastle contest, our holiday tree lighting, and that one's getting probably a makeover as well. In terms of what that will look like coming out of the pandemic. We tried snow last year, but I'm thinking about that snow too. That was fun last year, but should we be taking water? I did water the park, so it's a little bit better, I think, than what we were doing with the pumpkin roll, but not that much. So I am thinking and looking at all of these things as we work on making our events continually better and do those after actions. So I'd love to hear what the commission has to say about my recommendation and thinking about some of our other events, which we can get more in depth with John, I know the last meeting you brought up a boxcar derby, which Margie has been doing some really heavy lifting on research. We can discuss that under that topic, but this is specific to the pumpkin roll and specific to that goal number 3. Strive to be excellent stewards of the environment and thinking about how we're doing that with our special events.
Who'd like to go first?
I can.
Okay, Linda, you can go first.
Well, I agree with Ashley. I did have some reservations about that event, but some of our members were so enthusiastic, as I have been known to say, I don't want to be the person to kill the pumpkin roll. But it's like killing Santa Claus. But I think
it is like killing Santa Claus, it is.
But I think there's some way where we can incorporate pumpkins and the park and an activity. And I mean, and just off the top of my head, if question, are we going to be passing out pumpkins, which assuming we are, let's just assume we are, then if there's some event where we bring back the pumpkins to the park to either display, destroy, collect in a bin, smash, I mean, these are basically pumpkins that have used, they've served their purpose. We've decorated them, we've displayed them. And then if we can collect them in the park and have an event where people, gather for a period of time, come by, chit chat, we need, meet and greet. Anyway, that's what I'd like to suggest.
Yeah, we did think about that and having a pumpkin roll after Halloween instead. We'd have to, because the nature of pumpkins, especially if you carve them, is that they go mushy and rotten. And that's not going to roll down a hill. We'd have to shorten the course considerably, and then we'd really just be mopping up pumpkin mess all over the place to scoot it down into the bin. I think there definitely is opportunity to do something in the park with composting, encouraging people to bring those in and use it in tandem with probably the public works and environmental departments to encourage that type of composting and thing. And how smashy we get with rotten pumpkins and can get with rotten pumpkins with compost bins, I'm not quite sure, but open to ideas for that. And like I said, we keep thinking about how can we rethink what the pumpkin roll is for us. And I'm not trying to, I know you guys know me very well, and I'm not trying to kill Santa Claus or any of the fun, but I'm looking for different ways that we can have fun while still being good stewards of our environment.
John, do you want to go next, or I can go next, or who would like to go next?
This is Donna.
Okay, Donna.
Yeah, I know we didn't.
Donna, you have to mute yourself somewhere.
Yeah.
There you go. Now you're better.
I know that we didn't do it during the 2 years, but my history of the pumpkin roll is a little fuzzy because I don't remember it happening during the 2000, 2005. So I think it was revived sometime in the last 10 or 15 years. It wasn't every year for years, was it?
It wasn't every year for years in terms of it being a city sanctioned event. It did happen every year for years in terms of people going out in the middle of the night and stealing pumpkins from their neighbors and throwing them down Ocean Avenue. That happened for years. I mean, the whole reason we have the Halloween parade, if you go back into I love this, the whole reason we have a Halloween parade is because the children in Carmel in the 19-teens and 1920s were so out of control with vandalism and soaping windows and breaking stuff and just terrible that the parents put together a Halloween parade to try to corral them. Now, the first couple years they did this, it didn't work out so great because some kids didn't want to participate. So they threw rotten fruit and vegetables at everybody who did participate. So Carmel has a long history with hijinks and Halloween. And that's where the pumpkin roll idea came from, which was formally started as a city sanctioned event of rolling pumpkins down Ocean Avenue, not in the middle of the night where they could get in trouble potentially with the police, but just for fun. Taking that same kind of illicit fun and making it okay in the middle of the day.
So let's go back to some of the issues. So one is sustainability. Well, I don't think if you told me that farmers weren't going to grow pumpkins because Halloween was coming and that it's a waste of water to grow pumpkins, then I would agree with you. But I don't think that farmers are going to quit growing pumpkins because it's Halloween and everybody likes pumpkins. And if, if it wasn't feasible for them, then that would, end our problem here. But I think there are going to be pumpkins. So I don't think it's a sustainability issue in that matter, because they're going to be grown and somebody might as well use them. And, the suggestion of Linda's, which was what I was thinking, I don't know if we are going to pass out pumpkins, but if we are, that's great. And whether they carve them or paint them, Halloween is on a Monday this year, and we could have a pumpkin roll on the Saturday, and that's only like 4 days. And I don't think those pumpkins are going to be so rotten that we couldn't roll them. And people can bring their own. If we don't want to supply them if we've supplied them already to paint or to cut or to whatever, they can bring those and roll them. Let's see what other issues.
Well, they can't, if they're painted, they can't roll them. Anything that goes in the compost bin cannot be treated with anything. So I know there's treatments to keep things from rotting and things like that. So they cannot go into that. That will not work.
Although I bet you, in fact, I've seen it, people, and that's because they don't know. And but I know that painted pumpkins go in the yard waste all the time in Carmel-by-the-Sea.
And that's part of outreach that we can help the environmental compliance department work on.
Right. And then if you want to talk sustainability, like you said, the snow, I don't consider that sustainable when you're shipping it in. You've got water wasting. I don't consider the car shows sustainable when you've got all this pollution in the city. So I don't know that sustainability holds up as an issue. Now, the pumpkin roll, I understand, I think except with the COVID, has been going on for like the past 5 years. And we have other family events, but the Sandcastle really is the AIA, right?
No, the Sandcastle contest is both AIA and city. We've worked on this event together for over 50 years.
Yeah. And,
so it's a joint event between us. The city started it, and the AIA got so excited they asked to join and partner with us on it.
Okay, so they put it on, and
they put it on. In that event, you're only allowed to use items that are found on the beach. We pack in, pack out.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I don't want to kill Santa Claus, and I still want my pumpkins. But John, you can weigh in.
It's disappointing. I think the kids, certainly our kids, look forward to that, and I think it's a fun way to see all the kids gather. The parade is also, I think, a great way to get the groups together. I think there should be some unique way to utilize pumpkins around this holiday. I don't necessarily know if we want to get into like a pumpkin carving contest and have it occur, before or after the parade. I mean, do something age group based and have a carving contest where you bring your pumpkin to the park, and we have different age categories or some categories, and you can win prizes based on carving. And maybe that's cool for kids to see, and families to see what you can do with a pumpkin. And theoretically, you still have the sustainability in terms of, being able to compost those pumpkins if we're just doing carving. But I want to be careful not to. I think this was certainly a family event, and in a way that I don't see us having adults and kids participating in something together in many of the events that we do. I mean, even the parade, typically the kids are walking, some of the adults are in cars or on floats, but this was really a cool way to see everybody line up, wait in line, and then you certainly had, I threw a couple pumpkins along with my kids, and it was neat to see how that all worked. So, if there is a way to do something where families can come together, and maybe it's a family carving contest or some way to utilize pumpkins and bring us together, whether it be on Halloween itself or perhaps that Saturday, I think that'd be pretty neat.
I think there are other opportunities for us to have other events that do utilize pumpkins. The other thing too, Judy, back to your comments about sustainability, I've thought a lot about everything that you said. Exactly. I had these arguments with myself about this. My grandfather refused to recycle. before he died. He just refused. He said, what I do isn't going to make any sort of difference at all. And, you know, when you think about large corporations and the pollution they do, that's most of the problem. But us starting these things, even if they're small, are important. So if we don't ask a grower to specifically not grow 1,000 pumpkins, which is a lot of pumpkins, that's saving some water. It's not going to solve our drought problem for certain. And there people are still going to be pumpkins for Halloween. But I don't see, I mean, we have to start somewhere. And I think that we can be examples for this kind of sustainability thinking. It's not going to be perfect. Our events aren't going to be perfect and waste-free, but we can be creative about how we have gatherings and how we do these types of events. And I think one of the things, John, that you're getting at with the pumpkin roll is I equate it with the sandcastle contest in terms of vibe, where families do get to sit and interact together and participate together. And those events are smaller in nature. I mean, that's one of the things that's also in our strategic plan that came up when we did the community conversations, which I think is probably time for another round of, was that people didn't want huge, big events. They wanted smaller things where you can connect more meaningfully. And that's the type of thing that CYC is doing, that library is doing in terms of programming with summer reading, where everybody gets to participate as part of the family. So we will continue to work on a pumpkin initiative project, carving something to bring forward to you all in the next couple of months in terms of ideas and brainstorming. Does that sound like a reasonable compromise?
Yes, thank you, Leslie. I mean, Ash.
You're muted again, Donna, I think.
No, I finally got my laptop to work.
Okay. Well, I just want to say the difference I see in the sandcastle contest and the pumpkin roll, it's kind of like when we had our big celebration in Carmel and we had the city street dance. That was just kind of for our community. And the sandcastle contest is huge, and people come from all over the Bay Area to compete in the sandcastle contest. They do. I talk to them because I've been judging. Right. There, it's not just us. And most people most people don't drive out of the area to go, oh, I want to roll a pumpkin down this street. Most of those people standing in line at the pumpkin roll are the neighbors. My neighbors, I see them dragging their pumpkin with a wagon down the street. It's a small hometown kind of feel thing that we used to do in the old days that we're losing that. That's all I really think it's a shame, because otherwise we're, it's the big events and even tree lighting. People come, I mean, the kids, they come from all over the peninsula. And
well, I think arguably we get people all over. I mean, I remember the last pumpkin roll, we had people who had come to beat the heat in Fresno who came out of, it was a woman who was pregnant. She was so excited they had just heard about this. So I think it might be majority locals, but we still we are a destination place. Our events are up on the Visit Carmel marketing website. Our Halloween parade last year made the statewide, it's Visit California website for things to do in the state. So
it was really small, though. Our turnout was small, but
turnout was small, but it is the hazards of living in a town that is based on tourism, is that we are going to see those types of things. I think we can have we can come up with an alternative to pumpkin roll that maintains that hometown feel for certain.
Donna, and then we'll go to a public comment. Yeah. You're still muted again.
Okay. I listened to Bloomberg yesterday, and a lady from Planet Forward was on, and she talked about, you're right, $1 or can might not make a difference. But she said every city, every home has to look at their footprint right now and see how they can reduce it. Not tomorrow or next week. You're looking at your footprint, be it your home, your car, your business, and get a base and see where you can reduce your footprint. And I'm not against the pumpkin roll, but I don't think it would make a big difference if we didn't have it. And I would be more inclined to trying to have a dance for children and for adults like we tried the one time, but we would probably need alcohol. But are more events in the park that we can use the park locally for local events. So, but we are looking at the city's footprint and where do you reduce the footprint? And with the trucks bringing it and the water and the waste of pumpkins, I would agree it does have a big sustainability factor.
Then we shouldn't buy pumpkins for the city to give away because it's the same thing. I don't see a difference, quite frankly.
In which case we can look for an alternative. There are other Halloween things that we can do.
Okay, I think it's still a disappointment, but okay, go ahead, Linda.
I won't argue with the disappointment part. It is, yeah.
I just wanted to underline the sustainability aspects that were mentioned by Donna and Ashley, and that I think we have a commitment to sustainability for all our events. No plastic, reducing waste, reducing fumes, reducing, things that are just going to be thrown away. And that's all I have to say. And I would welcome a creative event where we use pumpkins.
I guess I agree 100% on the sustainability. I do, but if you're growing pumpkins for one thing and you're growing them for the other, I don't see the difference. That's my only issue. Go ahead. Public comment? Yeah.
Hi guys. I'm Niall. I manage the Carmel-by-the-Sea Farmers Market with Ashley. Just I have an idea. I have a lot of ideas. We just revitalized the old Walter Farm where the pumpkins all were grown historically and sold in front of the Hacienda Hay and Feed. And we're actually just laying some pumpkin seeds here. We're doing a regenerative farm, so sustainability is our number one concern. So we could utilize the pumpkin compost on our fields. We actually have the 2.5 acres of commercial property of the Hacienda Hay and Feed, and then we have a residential agriculture, which we're farming all in the back, which is another 3.5 acres. So we have 6 acres, including up to 96 parking spots. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to roll pumpkins here. There's nowhere to roll them. But what I could think, because I think that there is something that is exciting about doing something that's almost a little, for lack of better words, like a naughty, like a bad thing to do. And it's like, oh, I'm going to roll these pumpkins. Like you kind of get, I think Halloween has this kind of you're dressing up as somebody else. There's just this undertone of like doing that. So I think that although maybe the rolling of the pumpkins wouldn't work, just my opinion, what if we did like a pumpkin launch and we got like a big like catapult and launch pumpkins, and I will create a massive like wooden target, and so families can try and hit the target, and then the target will actually be over our fields, which then it would compost the ground, and we could shuttle people from Devendorf Park. We have a roundabout where we have all of our hay. We're already going to be doing harvest festivals. We are technically in Carmel-by-the-Sea. It is historically an organic farm, which we're revitalizing. So just as a community member and trying to find creative solutions, I think both sides would be felt that could work. That's just my opinion. Obviously that could go and vote, but as a, I remember when I was a kid and wanted to do things like that. And so like having like a place where it's productive and like not damaging other people's properties, but still kind of getting those little, things out. I think an alternative solution would be awesome. So that's just my opinion.
That was a great suggestion, Niall. I love it because there is that whole Halloween vibe and that's kind of what you want. So Thank you for that suggestion. Anyone else?
Yeah, I like that too, Niall. I mean, I think, look, the more our community can get involved, and if there are ways that our citizens can come up with creative ideas to help us, I'm all for it. So, it's super interesting.
Thanks, Niall.
Cool. I will come up with a proposal and work with Ashley on seeing what that could look like.
Okay. I just don't want us to lose out on Halloween. So
We won't lose that
whatever
on
we
Halloween.
Come up with, but yeah, but Niles, that I consider sustainable. So yeah, yeah. So let's move, shall we move forward and see what we can come up with then?
Very good. Yes, I'll work with Niall and see what feasibility is and what logistics would look like and all of that.
Especially because this year Halloween is on a Monday, and the parade, I understand, is going to be on a Monday, but that leaves a whole weekend for the kids to need something to do, right? Or before or after. Yeah.
I mean, from the city, potentially, yes. We're working with the Forest Theater Guild. It's in addition to the calendar. They're going to be doing Hocus Pocus in Devendorf Park. So there'll be family movie night on the 29th. So there's nothing happening in Carmel. And again, remember, we're not operating in a vacuum here. There's the youth center, there's the schools, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on around Halloween on the peninsula that aren't just our city, nor should we be trying to fill a void that may not exist. So I'll work with Niall and we'll see what the feasibility is of catapults and things like that. And, you know, the sustainability angle, making sure that we're meeting that need, and we'll come back with a report out regarding that. But we do already have something going on Halloween weekend with the Forest Theater Guild, and then the parade on Monday. Remember, the reason for moving the parade to actual Halloween is so that kids could participate after school. Like they did in the old days. That was a return to an old days tradition of Carmel, where the parade was held at 3 o'clock, so everybody could come after school, have some candy, participate in the parade, and then go trick-or-treating. What used to happen with the parade on Saturdays is we didn't see as much participation from families and kids because they had other plans for days that weren't Halloween. And so we're going to get into the thick of it and see how effective this is in terms of participation. I'd say arguably last year, with the parade leaving from downtown Carmel rather than Sunset Center and having it in the afternoon like that, that was the most bumping parade I've seen. I mean, the vibe in the park did not even compare to the luncheon at Sunset Center in terms of vibrancy and participation. I think we're headed in the right track, again, with going and looking back at our old traditions for how we did things. So I think that there's plenty to do here in town, and there's going to be plenty to do here in town around our events. Can we entertain everybody all the time? No, but there's still going to be things going on, with or without pumpkin roll, whatever iteration it may land in. So I'll work with Niall. We'll see what we can come up with, and we will continue this discussion.
Great. All right. Item number 3, receive an update on the farmers market.
So I have Niall and Raul here with me. I attended a restaurant improvement district meeting last week, and as a representative of the city in terms of planning for Culinary Week. If you'll remember, Culinary Week, the first kickoff for that was the first week of January. And that was January of 2020, unfortunately. The event was held, but not, I think, as well attended as it was that first year. And so they were looking at different days and places. And so I was invited to this meeting. One other thing that came up from the restaurateurs were questions about the farmers market and prepared foods. And I explained to them how during certain times of the year, you may see more prepared foods or options for lunch, like pizza served by Vesuvio. That's been a long-standing offering at lunchtime there. We also have, our fresh fruit and produce vendors, which see an increase in the summer, of course, that's when plants are growing. But some of the restaurateurs seem to be unhappy with the lunchtime offerings at the market. I mean, arguably with our market, I would say that, and it's unfortunate, we did get the word out to them to come participate so we could hear if they had anything else to say beyond this. I think there's something at our market to make everybody, all of the business owners in town, upset. And I don't mean that facetiously. I mean, we've got, produce vendors who might compete in terms of market with Bruno's and Nielsen's. We don't do retail, but with those prepared foods, I can see why our restaurateurs might be unhappy. However, we have offered them space at the market I know that Niall and Raul are working on Third Thursday and incorporating our local restaurateurs there. Arguably, our market is 4 hours during the week. Most restaurants are open in the evenings. They're open 7 days a week in some cases. So I'm not sure how much competition the market truly is, but I will tell you that Raul and Niall and I are very careful and let each other know when we've heard feedback about a certain vendor or the makeup of the market and things like that. And they're always working on recalibrating things. So I wanted to bring that to your attention to just for your social awareness. And we talk about these things as well here at these activities commission meetings. You bring things to me, but I just wanted that you all to be aware that this is something that we are thinking about and working on and looking at in terms of our market. For the most part, though, I've had nothing but good feedback in terms of the mix of vendors that we have and offerings. So I don't know if all of you have heard anything, feedback, good or otherwise, and I will let Raul and now Niall speak as the current makeup of the market and our goals with that.
Hi all. I just wanted to update everyone on the hot vendors that we do have at the market. We have a total of 4 hot food vendors. One of them, which I think really ruffled feathers, was Julia's Vegan Restaurant because they're coming from their location in Pacific Grove, offering completely different offerings and everything in the area. We also have Vesuvio's. We do have our fish vendor that does fish tacos on site. I think that's where I usually run into Linda. And then we have another vendor that does salsas and tamales. All food, which I think, me and Niall and I try to filter out things that would step on people's toes. With that being said, we have 25 artisan food vendors, including those hot foods, and 15 agriculture vendors. Not everyone's present in most markets. Our market ranges from 33 to 40 vendors every Thursday.
Yeah, we've been approached by a pizza company that makes pizzas. They're all the local farmers markets. They're a local person, but we didn't want to kind of be an issue with Vesuvio's and obviously some of those style restaurants. So we, respectfully declined. But we feel that the small selection of vendors that we do have, it's less than 10%, are just great additions to the market. And as Raul mentioned, the fish vendor, he's doing fish tacos. It's just an added compliment that really helps his bottom line. So the biggest competitor would be like the stationery, because they have brunch, but I've talked to Anthony and Alyssa. They're actually sourcing produce from our farm, and they're like, no, have them. Like, the more the merrier. We're trying to help support local economy. A lot of these vendors that are at farmers markets don't have the funding to get a storefront, so therefore they're just trying to make it. These are not multi-million dollar businesses. They are very mom pop family owned businesses, which I think as a community we should try and support, especially as kind of talking about affordable housing and pricing going up, like having different options for people to be able to sell local products is
right.
Really important.
With that being said, something that we have found at most markets, just like with affordable housing and inflation going up, and people who aren't usually able to shop at farmers markets actually come pick up groceries during those hours. Our average EBT, which is the essentially food stamps given at every market, is about $200 on average. On the highest day, we've given out $600 in food stamps to shop at the farmers market.
Yeah, and we're working on getting a thing called Market Match, which actually doubles the produce for there's senior programs and low income programs, and it actually doubles their amount of EBT, which is the electronic benefit transfer, which they get a card, and it doubles that in for produce and agricultural items. So we're always trying to find different ways to help our most sensitive community members. And so just another little additional.
Can you explain that $200-$600 again? What is it the whole market? That's all that we're seeing come through is $600?
No, sorry. So that's in the electronic benefits
EBT.
transfer.
So that's how much, like, individual. So if I'm an individual, right, like, and I get EBT, right? So the way that EBT, I guess this more works, it's called CalFresh. It's the new program for food stamps, is you get these EBT cards because they're electronic benefit. They're like a Visa card, right? And so different people get allocated a various amount on how much money you make, how old you are, so on, et cetera. So what Raul is saying is, you know, somebody that comes slides their EBT card may spend $20 at hummus and $20 at produce. Therefore, that would be a $40 transaction. So on average, we get $200 of those EBT transactions at the market a week, and we our highest has been $600. So $200 is not a bad number. You'd think that's probably around, you know, maybe 10 guests that utilize their cards. We'd love to grow that, and so that's what we're working on. But we feel pretty good that, you know, in a space like Carmel, that people are utilizing this. No, I don't think Carmel's ever had it. No other farmers market, and maybe I'm not sure, but I would assume they didn't utilize EBT, or at least try and market that to the seniors and to low incomes. And so we're just saying that we have that accessibility and we're utilizing it.
Donna?
Then does the state reimburse the vendors that $20 that the EBT card spends?
Correct.
Donation. Okay, it's not a donation.
Yeah. No, so actually what happens is because so they come, we have a little card reader, and the vendors come and get their EBT. We give them out like market coins that they can go spend. And then we actually pay the vendors at the end of that day, and we carry that cost, and then we get reimbursed. So it's kind of it's like a small loan, if that makes sense, but we get reimbursed by the state. There's no benefits for us. We don't get paid more to do this. It's obviously takes work to do that, but we think it's important to do things like that for our community. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful program. Thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the program, but that's just awesome. And I think, you know, I think you have done a good job at who you allow in for the hot foods, because like Julia's, there's no vegan restaurant for me to go to in Carmel, but I love to go there, you know, on Thursdays. So
yeah, those mushrooms are amazing.
And the kombucha. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it doesn't preclude you from going to any Carmel area restaurants downtown at any other time during the week. It's not that was your one thing that you're going to eat. And I think that there's a balance, and I'm hoping that we can continue the conversation with our restaurateurs and get them involved in the third Thursday, but assure them that we take these things very seriously and are always thinking about the balance of the market. And I think, you know, this was a long-stated desire of this community to have a market, and it was a lot to get it launched. And I think we're in a really good place right now. I don't think it necessarily needs an overhaul or reworking or anything like that. I think we're in a good place, but I think that there probably are other opportunities we can provide to our restaurant community, whether it's tables like we have with the community groups, where we have people rotating out on a weekly basis and they're just either giving information or little appetizers or whatever. But I think that we can find good opportunities for that type of thing going forward. But I just wanted you all to be aware of those.
The only other thing I say, I agree. And I had a gentleman come into town for the marathon, whatever it was now, 2 months ago. And he came in early just to get acclimatized. We met in the morning, and he hadn't ever been to Carmel. He went to the farmer's market that Thursday, whatever I think it was, right before, and was like, I love this town. I'm staying in Monterey, but I actually think I'm just going to stay the rest of the afternoon and walk around and have dinner in Carmel, simply because I had this vibrant experience in downtown Carmel that I didn't even realize existed. And so I think we have to also be aware that, by the way, he spent a lot more money at dinner than he would have at lunch at any of the restaurants that he went to. He had this incredible experience at the farmers market. It's bringing in people to our town that are spending money around that experience. And that's what the goal is. Let's create a vibrant downtown community. Let's give people a chance to experience what we have. And people are staying longer because of that experience, and then spending money at restaurants and at, local retail stores. We rely on tourism. Let's realize that this does bring people into town who spend money. And, I think, one day a week is I think everybody can handle one day a week if it does create more awareness and brings in revenue. And at the same time, let's continue to invite others to participate from the local restaurant community at the farmers market. I think if you talk to Rich, I'm sure he would say that they're doing well at Vesuvio, being, having their pizzas there for lunch. So, let's invite more restaurateurs to come and join and be a part of the ecosystem.
Yeah, one of my favorite comments that I've heard is that, like, oh my, this is amazing. Like, do you have this daily? And it's like, that's how it is in in European countries where there's these open air markets. And I think that there's something that is thought of in Carmel when you expect that. So when you see when people may come and not see that, it's kind of like, oh, like that. I think it's a beautiful addition to the town. And I love, yeah.
One thing, sorry, Donna, you can go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when you're there, the times I'm there and give away stuff, be it a flower or anything else, and people walk by, the same as the snow, who don't know they're from out of town, they didn't come because of the market, are so pleasantly surprised and happy that they see all these people on the street. They can buy something or just look at it. The market is, as Ashley said, a long time coming, and it is one of the most popular events in the city, and it utilizes the city. Every city you go to, they have different things during the week. We only have this one lunchtime event every week. So my hat's off to you guys for running it, and we all go to other markets, and ours is clean and tidy and friendly, and thank you. And we should do everything we can to enhance and expand as long as it's within the guidelines.
Thank you, Donna. One thing that I think will truly maybe not, there's no fences to be mended, but there's fences to be open or gates to be open. And I think with the addition of Third Thursday, I think with the influx of people coming in for that event, still nothing set in stone there, but time frame wise, but I think it'll lead to more business as well. With it ending around 7:30, 6:30, I think the restaurants will get a nice little boost, and we'll keep everything rotating there, and our doors are always open and we're always flexible.
Yeah, I think in a lot of towns, the weekends sometimes start on Thursdays as that ramp up. So I think that although we're just kind of starting off the weekend for the restaurateurs and the hotels, that people will start to come a little earlier, stay Thursday through Sunday. So I think that it'll be a beneficial thing for sure.
Linda.
I'm not surprised that there was some pushback by the restaurateurs, but I wanted to just emphasize that I think the offerings for lunch are fantastic. I mean, for a $10, I mean, sometimes I think I have 2 portions, which means it's $20, but I only should have 1. And I love the fact that Julia's has introduced me to some foods that I mean, I still can't remember the name of that little sandwich that they make to order. I think it's wonderful. And I mean, I go there because I can't buy that food in Carmel normally. So thank you for doing all that you do.
Thank you.
And it is a long time coming, the farmers market, because I was on the original ad hoc committee for that farmers market, which was started by Jason Burnett and Victoria Beach. So it's gone through several mayors before, I mean, it's been a work, and you guys have just brought it to its peak. I mean, I just love it. And I have a girlfriend who wants to go to lunch with me all the time, and it's always on Thursday, and she always wants to come to Carmel to shop at the farmers market, but we do go out to lunch at a restaurant because she doesn't like to eat farmers market food. So, she comes to go to the restaurant because of the farmers market. So, I think it's only good. The one thing, Ashley, you did mention when you first started off, and I'm not sure, you said there are no products, but isn't the lavender woman there, or is she not there anymore? Or, selling soaps and sprays, and that's
she's got her, but she has she's got her lavender honey, lavender caramels. So it is a mix of things. I will say that.
Yeah, but she grows the lavender. So
I know Carmel Valley.
That would be like a farmer selling jam, right? Yeah. So it's like I think an ancillary item or something value added for sure. And so I
love her. I know who she is, but I was just checking for her.
Yes, that's
Okay, a nice answer. Thank you.
No, this is great. This has been a very healthy discussion about just farmers market in general and where we can go. And Judy, do you want to open? We didn't do public.
I was going to say, I want to open it up to the public in case there's anybody who would like to say anything. I see some people out there. I can't see them on my screen, but if anyone wants to.
You see my hand?
No, I can't see it, Joe, but
go ahead. You, Joe.
Is it all right? All right, this is Joe Todd. The one I'm a little upset here because I'm listening to all this stuff, but one of the things I would like to see eventually is that we maybe discuss having a meeting with the community again to discuss, like we just talked about the lavender lady, things like that. I think that we need to look at some of the things again and maybe to allow them. And my other thing is, I'm really short of breath here, but like Vesuvius probably wouldn't even be there but it's convenient for him, so he's there. And all of the restaurants were asked if they wanted to participate, and they're not. They do not participate, so that's their bag. The food there is so good now at the farmers market; it's wonderful, and the restaurant, Julius, it's great also. And it just really bothers me that the restaurants here can have that much power, that we're, like pussyfooting around of what we can have at the market. That really upsets me. But so I'm just saying it'd be nice to have a meeting eventually to go over some of these things again, to what might be included. I think I should have written stuff down, but if I think of something else before, I'll raise my hand. But I was just really upset about like the restaurants complaining about what's happening. Because, during that time, I went around to the restaurants and I went around to different businesses. Just, they're complaining that we're taking business away from them. And there was nobody in the stores there. And I did that for several weeks to see what's their complaint. And, so anyway, thank you anyway. I'm glad that the market is here and you guys are doing a great job. And I think I have to stop now because I'm hard to breathe. I'm really upset. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that...
let me speak to this now. I don't think it was necessarily complaining or anything like that. Like I said, every week or every month that we have these meetings, and then Niall and Raul and I speak more frequently than that, we just want to know what's out there and people are saying about the market. Is there a recalibration? Because sometimes you get into your own head with your own ideas and you realize, I stepped outside of the bounds of the guidelines, or I can see how this wouldn't work for us. Not bad to try things, but we want to be cognizant of our community groups, different facets of the community and their level of happiness. We're not going to make everybody happy. That is absolutely for certain. I don't think that we're not fighting with the restaurant community. We're just listening to them and seeing, do we need a recalibration? How can we be more inclusive? This is all good feedback. It's not an upsetting thing. It's just a good awareness for us. And it only can make us and the farmers market better when we go through these kinds of exercises. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this as a standing agenda item for the Community Activities Commission. I mean, it's that important that we do a regular check-in with this, and we're not just letting the market run until it blows up from something we didn't understand. This is important regular feedback that we get so that we don't have, you know, something big happen. I don't anticipate that would ever happen because we're doing this. So I'm glad to hear that the restaurants are comfortable speaking with all of us here and letting us know, or any other facet of the community is comfortable coming to the Community Activities Commission, commissioners, staff to say, hey, have you thought about this for the market? Or how come you're not doing it like that? That's good for us. So
I have another comment. I'm not talking about keeping in touch with the businesses and restaurants in the community now. I'm talking about the idea that they'd have that kind of strength and power to dictate what can be at the market. And I appreciate that you're keeping in touch with them, but I'm just talking about the kinds of some of the power that the businesses sometimes instill in what goes on. But I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing now. I'm just saying that, and I have heard some of the restaurants who don't like the farmers market. And that's what,
right.
What you're doing is great. You're keeping the peace. That I'm just saying there are those there, and I just don't want them to have that kind of power over us. That's all. So what you're doing is great. I'm not complaining about that. Thanks.
Thank you, Joe.
Anyone else in the public? All right, well, thank you. That was Niall Raul. That's a great discussion. Thank you for presenting to us. Great job. And let's go on to item number 4, receive updates on the 2022 special events calendar.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Niall. Thank you, Raul. See you on Thursday. So receive an update on the special events calendar for Carmel-by-the-Sea. No date changes or anything anywhere. We'll still continue having our ongoing discussion about the pumpkin roll. So I'll be coming back to you and what all that could potentially look like. I can't believe we're halfway through our event season. Margie was kind enough to add, which I think is great, the summer reading programs to our calendar for this year. Those are happening in Devendorf Park. Some of them are happening on Farmers Market Day. So those are included so that you can all see those. And I'd like to keep doing that going forward as we talk about events that the city's putting on. I think the library should be included in these offerings because we are a city department and we do things very similar to the community activities department. In fact, Margie planned the summer reading because our children's librarian hadn't started and I asked for her help with this. So she put this together for us. And these are the types of programs we're talking about that are smaller and geared towards families. So those Margie was kind enough to include here. And then I also did add in that Saturday, October 29th movie in the park with the Forest Theater Guild, and that will be Hocus Pocus in honor of Halloween. Otherwise, no other changes or additions at this point. And we're looking good. The next big thing that we've got coming up besides the summer reading events in the park are the Monterey Pops concert, which will be Monday, July the 4th. We're looking forward to that.
So I must say I was surprised when I saw the summer reading program on there because it is a library sponsored event. And I don't have a problem, but then I think you need to go to the other commissions and have their events also on our calendar if that's how you choose to do it, if you want to add all this stuff, because, you know, there's like Arbor Day and I know that, you know, some of the other commissions do.
Right.
Events.
And as soon as they get organized enough to have dates and give them to us, we will add them in. But until we have dates.
They know that. I'm not sure they know that.
Yeah, no, we do add them, but we will add those in the other commissioners' offerings. But I mean, this calendar has always been an interesting calendar in that it has been events that the Community Activities Department staff have organized, so city organized events, but we've also included events from outside organizers for awareness for the commission, like the Vintners, like the Art Festival, like the Surf About that are happening that aren't any relation to the city. Now, the library and the Forest and Beach Commission with Arbor Day, those are related to the city. We're all under the same umbrella. We're all the same staff. So it made good sense to include these in as soon as we have, again, the challenge is getting dates and working more closely with other staff members, because what I have seen is different versions of Earth Day celebrations and Arbor Day celebrations in the city. And I think there's more help that this department can lend in terms of advertising and participation. The community activities department's very good at what it does. And so again, as soon as we have dates from other departments, and they are aware of what we do and all of those things, it's just the type of thing that gets lost in communication when you're so focused on your event, your Forest and Beach Commission, or whatever commission it is. So we're definitely having these conversations and how we can do better to be more cohesive as departments.
Does that also include things like Linda's is involved in, I think, Mission Trail cleanup and stuff like that, right, Linda? Are you?
Right. And so this goes back to a larger discussion, which is part of strategic planning. So I can bring the strategic plan next month back so we can take a look at it. This goes back to, are we the calendar of everything?
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
Right. This is what you're asking. And in this instance, you're not, this is not intended to be the calendar of everything. This is the community activities department. This is what we are permitting, what we are organizing, and other city departments. So I didn't realize it would cause such a kerfuffle to have the summer reading programs on here.
No, I didn't have anything wrong. I was just surprised when I saw it. And then I thought, well,
right. And part of that, right.
And,
and well, part of it too was typically in the past, the library programs have been held in the library. They're out in the park and they're happening during the farmer's market. We've been holding our stuff in the park. We're in charge of the farmer's market. And now these things are being better combined and more cohesive. And so if you're out there at the farmer's market and you see a kangaroo, I bet you'd want to know why. And it would be nice to know that Zoo to You, which you saw on the calendar at this meeting, was here. So that was some of the logic behind that.
Linda?
Well, we had talked in the past, I mean, a distant past, about a master calendar for events. So I see this as an evolution towards that goal.
Yeah, and the Friday letter is certainly operating that way. More and more groups are sending things to Leslie for inclusion into the Friday letter. So that's happening as well. So I think this is going to be an evolving discussion.
Donna?
Well, as far as a master calendar, that has to be, in my opinion, done by City Hall. What Ashley is doing is what most communities do, is they have a calendar for what the city puts on itself. And we participate in the ventners because of the permitting, as if we were a rec department or social department, but a master calendar for the whole community, which has been trying to find a home for 25 years, would have to be the city's job somewhere at City Hall if they wanted to do it for tourists or the Visitors Bureau. What our group needs to just concentrate on city events and the other commission events. And adding the library, I think, is good, because I was unaware of all those things that the library is doing. And being part of a commission, I should be aware. So I think that was a good addition. And let somebody at City Hall do a community calendar.
Well, and all of these things are up on the city's website, all of them that are listed here. They're all on the city's website, front and center on the city's calendar. All you got to do is scroll just a little bit down and you'll see all of these things listed. I promise they're all there consistently. So the city is doing this. These are showing up on our website. We do have them available for people to see that these are our upcoming events, and they're on the library's calendar as well. So they're in both the two places that you can find them already electronically, in addition to having them as part of our regular standing items for the Community Activities Commission meetings.
The more the merrier in my mind.
Exactly.
We just got to get out there, and as long as they all read the same,
yes.
the more the merrier.
Yeah. Any comments from the public? All right, and our final, let's see, scroll back here to the consider when to return to in-person community activities meetings.
So at our last meeting, this commission discussed waiting to return to in-person meetings until such time as we did not have to wear masks. The mask mandate in city buildings is still in place. So we would be required to wear masks if we were to go back to in-person meetings, if we were in the council chamber. And the meetings, if we were to go back in person, would be hybrid. So people could still Zoom in, including any of you who were not here in town or for whatever reason couldn't attend in person. That would be an option. But the mask mandate in city facilities still stands at this point in time.
I'm happy.
Any changes of mind? Is everybody happy on Zoom still? Yes, okay. Then we will keep this on as an agenda item and revisit it next month.
Yeah. Future, Donna?
I will be in Paris, so I will try real hard to get on Zoom, because we do have Wi-Fi where I will.
We will forgive you, Donna, if you don't make it.
No,
You do know it's the middle of the night there for a meeting, right?
I don't care. No, but my friend I'm with is a therapist, and she has Zoom calls with clients. So
you'll both be up in the middle of the night talking. Okay, future agenda items.
So we'll do election of officers next month.
Yeah,
we will do, pumpkin. We are waiting for the, council to finalize their decisions. I know it didn't directly affect this, but with the library board, I had it in a holding pattern in my head to do our appointments for both of my board and commissions at the end of the month, start of July. So we will do that then. And then of course, pumpkins will come back. And I think we should do a review of strategic planning and where we are, because Leslie and Margie and I have been dividing and conquering. Donna and Ellen have been working with Margie on one of our strategic plan goals for the community groups. And so I think we're due for a report out on that. And that is all I have at this moment in time.
Yeah, all I had was the election of officers. Donna, what would you like to add?
well, the connection, the community connection
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
On everyone's calendar, it's September 22nd. That's what Margie and Ashley and Leslie have been working on hard. So to accumulate and plan that event. So they'll have a report next time, but I want it on our calendars. Thank you.
And I would like to see after action reports on all of the May events. I don't think we, winemakers, art festival, Memorial Day.
All right, that sounds like a good list for next month.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, bye.
Have a good day.